Short staffing, delivery issues, help wanted signs on every storefront. Those are all the results of the pandemic here, and also what's being called the Great Resignation. San Diego State University marketing lecturer Miro Kopik joins us this morning to help us get a better understanding of this kind of employment trend or unemployment trend we've been seeing. Good morning to you, Miro. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Eric. Good morning to you.
So we have it. We've been talking about the numbers, 4.5 million Americans voluntarily quitting their jobs in November, yet there's this historic number of job openings. We see the help wanted signs. I mean, what's behind this Great Resignation?
Well, it's interesting. There's a couple of trends that are contributing to this. 4.5 million people resigned, but there's still 10.5 million job openings. And unemployment is close to the pre-pandemic low. We're going to see the numbers tomorrow, but last month, 4.2%, and we were at 3.5% before the pandemic. So why are there all these job openings? Well, four big factors. First of all, a lot of baby boomer retirements. Baby boomers, especially the younger ones, took the time during the pandemic to retire early. A lot of people are rethinking their careers. So certain sectors like hospitality, people working in restaurants, they are really rethinking about how hard that job is, or dealing with people who where they have to be the cops during COVID. A lot of people also, women have been disproportionately impacted, especially because one of the big sectors that has been hit is childcare. We're about at 85 to 90% of the childcare capacity that we were at before the pandemic. So that 10% would sideline several million women, and particularly women of color, who are in lower paying jobs potentially. And sometimes the cost of childcare is more expensive. So you have these four big trends, and the last one is burnout. There's a lot of sectors that experienced burnout during the pandemic, and particularly the healthcare sector. So, nurses and doctors in particular. So those four things, burnout, retirements, rethinking careers, and kind of childcare, are four big undercurrents of why people are resigning and rethinking their lives.
Look, I don't want to pretend like I know everyone's financial situations and the decisions that go on, but if people are quitting their jobs, not taking new ones, again, we have record unemployment, job openings. What are these people doing for money? All right, we live in an expensive town. I mean, you can't go months and months exploring opportunities. At some point, you got to pay the bills, right?
Absolutely. I think one of the things that the speed at which people are accepting jobs, again, our pre-pandemic unemployment level and our current one is pretty close. Economists would say that 5% unemployment is almost full capacity. So the gap is that people are not waiting. There's people in transition, and they may be, they may take 30 or 45 days, but there's not a lot of people that are just straight out waiting. There's people that are leaving and leaving permanently. And what we're also finding is that young adults are not entering the job market, so high school students or college students, to make up for all the people leaving and retiring, and the people who are in transition. And so yes, the good news is that right now, the unemployment claims are at a 30-year low, even lower than before the pandemic. So very few people are, the number of people actually unemployed has declined, but there isn't enough people participating in the labor force, and that's a number that hasn't budged since the beginning of the pandemic, and that's the concerning one, and that's where the gap is. And so most people who are leaving their jobs, of that 4.5 million, probably 2.5 to 3 million are taking new jobs, and the other ones primarily are going to find new jobs within 30 days.
Interesting. And are some of those people that have left whatever job they weren't, very happy with, are they making out on this? Because, there's sign-on bonuses. Potentially, employers are willing to pay more for qualified people because they're having a tough time filling positions. How does that landscape look?
Oh, it absolutely does. The state has a new, minimum wage level, and the federal minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour. But big employers like Amazon or Walmart or Target or whomever have upped their wages to $15 an hour and more. And so people might be moving, say, from hospitality jobs. So unfortunately, small restaurant owners, are really struggling, even though a lot of them are paying bonuses. But someone might go to, say, an Amazon warehouse because they're going to make $17 or $18 an hour, and they get benefits. So what consumers are looking for, or workers are looking for, especially the younger generation, so let's say millennials and Gen Z, they're looking for a better work-life balance, and benefits have become a very big driver in that. How does that affect my family? How, what's being covered? And so people are being more selective, and employers are really raising the ante on what's being offered between bonuses and benefits.
Mira, we've all seen those help wanted signs. We've seen stores shut down, restaurants shut down early because they just don't have the workers. Everyone in those moments goes, gosh, when is this going to turn around? When will this bounce back? I realize you and I don't have the crystal ball that I think we all wish we had during this past 2 years. But what is it going to take? How long will we ever be able to bounce back for something like this to fill those job numbers?
I think the job numbers ultimately will get filled out over the next 12 to 18 months. The issue is that certain sectors may not look the same. So, for example, restaurants, compared to before the recession, they were at a deficit of 5 and 6 million jobs, during the height of the pandemic. Sorry about that. Now there's about 1.5 million jobs that are in deficit in hospitality. Way better than we were 18 months ago, but still, at a critical point for restaurant owners. So, but we may change. There may be some big changes that are occurring. So, for example, look at quick service restaurants. They're putting in ordering boards where people can go inside or order in advance. Same thing with restaurant chains. You can order at the table through a tablet, and so they may not need as many workers. So companies are adjusting to that, and a lot of the workers are going to find jobs that are more fulfilling to them and less, say, backbreaking in some cases, like somebody working in a restaurant.
Miro Kopec from San Diego State University, thanks so much for your time. I don't know about you, I'd rather order from a friendly face than a computer or a tablet, and I hope those days aren't gone.
I hope not either.